Hello, Divine Ones. This is Fairy Dust 1111, and thank you so much for tuning in. This is a channeled message from the Divine Masculine. So, the masculine energy within us all, or this could just be the Divine Masculine as far as anyone that identifies with the masculine energy. Okay. And so, it's a couple things that I have to cover here. And so, this is the message that is coming from the Divine Masculine's higher self for some, and then as well as the higher self coming through the energetic plane and grounding in a 3D experience. All right. So we're talking about the dynamics of communication. So this specifically came through another channeled message for the full moon, excuse me, in Gemini. Okay. And so the spirit was specifically talking about the colors of pink and green. And so healing the throat chakra or the throat energetic portal, if you will. So a lot of our voices have been suppressed. And so this is talking about what one will call the inner voice, the higher self that has been trying to send signs and synchronicities and a certain dynamic of communication to one's lower self. But through those energetic blockages, and I hear electrostatic, okay, that veil that's in between the higher self and the lower self, the left brain and the right brain, the physical and the spiritual aspects, okay, that veil, but it's thinning though. Okay, so a lot of the thinning happened during the Gemini full moon. hmm And so it's continuing on. So remember that energies is like a rotating door. All right. And so some may feel the energy before the actual event, and some may feel it after. But remember, it's a rotating door. So therefore, remember, energy can't be created nor destroyed. Okay. And so this is talking about the continual of this communication. So once the dynamic of the communication has transformed, it will always be transformed. It will not regress, meaning that the true transformation, okay, so the transformation to come from the higher self. So, no different than when you're trying to tune into a specific radio station and that static that comes through until after you hit that point in which it comes through crystal clear. The only difference is that it will not regress. Okay, so you may get like a little bit of static here and there. So let's take this analogy to the twin flame connection, to the divine partnerships. Okay, and so with the activation, or not necessarily the activation, but the opening of the energetic portal known as the throat chakra. Okay. And so through the suppression, and I also hear depression of the voice of the higher self, also of the lower self, too, because a lot of us have been trying to exercise, I hear, our rights, our verbal rights, our ability to express ourselves. However, through the smashing, the compression of the vocal cords. Okay. So what I mean by that is like one that is trying to speak their truth. But through human judgment and conditioning, that truth has been suffocated. All right. And so that causes pain, and the pain within the throat chakra. Okay. hmm Okay. And so this also causes pain within the energetic portal of the heart and the three hearts. So, this is information that has been coming through with the three hearts and stuff. So if one needs me to, I will do a completely separate video on the three hearts. Okay. Anyways. All right. So with the swing of the pendulum that I've been making reference to in the Twin Flame Starseed Bible studies, that with the masculine energy, all right, and either ones that identify as the masculine energy as a complete, like a male, if you will, all right, it's like through that swing of the pendulum from extreme pleasure and extreme pain that the activations come through, that the information from other realms ground. So the information that is filtered from the divine source to the higher self, that filters through the energetic static, if you will, energetic plane, and grounds to the 3D experience, all right, is being opened up. So it's never actually been closed. So energetic portals, chakras have never been closed. Okay, they never been closed. All right. So you may have blockages, like how they would say the blood flow through arteries. Okay, so it may be very compressed and only seeming to have a little bit of information, aka energy, coming through. All right. But however, the opening of it, so it's starting to open and free itself. All right. And so through the pain of the compression and depression and the cutting, I hear the cutting off of the circulation. So it's just nothing but the slowing down of the circulation of the information, of the energy that is coming through, that caused pain within the energetic portal known as the throat chakra, as well as the lower heart chakra. Okay. And so that's the swing of the pendulum one way. But however, through this decompressioning and the opening of the flow of the information and energy that is coming through, is like the communication and the dynamics of the communication will fully flow, bringing healing and bringing full pleasure. So imagine of how joyous this is. Okay, hold on. This is talking about not just being able to communicate effectively, like in the verbal type of sense. So even for one that may be mute, like literally mute, okay, that they still will have a way of communicating, and even if they don't know sign language. So meaning the reason why I state that is because a lot of times with the masculine energy, it's like, especially when it comes to emotions, energy, emotion, okay, that it's hard to express one's voice because of the suppression and depression from human conditioning. Emotions, what? Although we all are emotional, it's just expressed differently, okay? And so how can one express how they feel, what is going on, when they may not even understand it themselves because of the energetic blockages? So first, this is talking about, with this energy, it's about self-communication. So the masculine energy is learning how to communicate with oneself. So that information that was coming through with those signs and synchronicities and these feelings, these emotions, that they try to suppress and hide, it doesn't make logical sense, or it's just too complicated, whatever the excuse that they communicated with themselves before, the dynamics of that is changing. Okay, because they can't ignore the signs and synchronicity, excuse me, they can't ignore that information that is coming from the higher self. Okay, it's being opened up, the box is being opened up, the letter is being opened, the communication is coming through. Okay, and so through like some of the Twin Flame Starseed Bible Study lives, that a lot of individuals was making reference to their throat being really sore, and I can contest to this. I was feeling the energy, and then the energy fully like flowed, I guess that would be the best word for it, just last night from when I posted this video. Okay, and so the angelic language, so some will start to speak in what they call the angelic language, love language, light language. I hear magnetizing language, and so this is maybe make a reference to the energetic static and the of that realm, the thinning of the realm, possibly being able to be dualistic, if that and what I mean by that, like sometimes words just come through differently, and what I mean by that is being able to speak and communicate in a 3D sense, as far as what they call logic, and being able to speak and communicate in the spiritual realms to make sense of the spiritual realms in the logical sense. So this is talking also about speaking things into existence, and the biblical text makes reference to this. Okay, and so this is with the masculine energy. And so although I am a female and I do identify more so with the feminine energy, however, um the masculine energy, this I'm definitely feeling very, very strongly, of being able to speak things into existence, working with manifestation power. So in the sense of, and this is other channel information that's been coming through with the masculine energy, so we're talking about the logical sense, and if it doesn't make sense, if it doesn't make dollars, it don't make sense. And so that type of mindset, and being able to see the spiritual patterns in the logical sense, and meaning that this is also making reference to the feminine. The feminine may have the ideals, I speak for myself as well, of that the divine masculine has to communicate the way how we communicate. For example, especially with the whole awakening or aligning or whatever religious words you want to fill in there, it's all just talking about aligning with your higher self, operating out of the spirit. You see how we use these jargon, these words, and stuff. They may not necessarily use these words. They may not use tarot. They may not use even a Bible or Quran. They may not even use none of that. They may be able to see the signs and synchronicities in the patterns of life. So this is also talking about language with patterns, equations. Numbers are also language, linguistics, okay? And being able to see that information in the regular sense, meaning that, like, for example, if they work in a bank, if they work with numbers, they're able to see the signs and synchronicities from those numbers and see the pattern of life. And so what I mean by the pattern of life is the way of how you manifest. If you can pick up on the equation, that one simple equation, if you can pick up on that one simple recipe, it's a recipe for success throughout your 3D experience. It's the equation for success throughout your 3D experience. And this is what they're learning. So it may not come in the sense of, like, a lot of times with the feminine being more what they would call, and it's not intuitive. So the logical mind is intuitive, using human reason to interpret the information that's surrounding the situation, compared to being in alignment with the higher self, okay? In channeling information, if you will, or using divination, if you will, to communicate with the other realms. But they can communicate with the other realms just by using things in the logical 3D sense. And so with the merging of the two, this is what the spirit has been saying about with the left brain and the right brain, and the signals that were firing, that were misfiring. So that veil that was in between, that was keeping the divine feminine and the divine masculine from really communicating properly, and misunderstanding what the other one was talking about, and not being able to see the intent and hear the intent behind the words and the actions, but being caught up in the physical sense of what someone may be saying and doing, and being completely thrown off guard. And this is talking about having foresight, okay? This is talking about being able to read behind the words, hear behind the words. And I can personally attest to this, that with myself and my twin, that I literally could hear him talking at times, and then I could hear, like, it's not literally another voice, but it's like the intentions on what he really meant by that. And this is like the higher self speaking. This is like the Holy Spirit, if you will, the Christos energy speaking on that, on his behalf, if you will, or either himself speaking. Like, this is what I really mean. For example, um, I'm not talking to you right now, and this is the reason why, because I got to go to work or something. However, the reason behind it is, like, I'm not I'm not able to fully express the way how I feel. So therefore, I'm going to use a distraction, because my feelings run so deep, if you understand what I'm saying. So being able to decode what is behind the veil, if you will. And this is with that left brain, right brain, in the emergence. So therefore, the signals that are being fired on both sides are firing across both layers, if you will, across the veil. And so therefore, the spiritual aspect, which is more so the feminine, and then the physical aspect, which is more so of the masculine energy, and the left brain, right brain, that they're merging into one cohesive unit. And so therefore, the communication is on a whole nother plane. And so another channel message that came through was about, I hear something else. Hold on. And I'm gonna get to that. All right. And so I hear techno about communication. I don't know, telecom or something. And so the words that I may say may not necessarily have the same meaning, or maybe a specific meaning for one individual, or a small group of the wave, or a small group of the collective, the connected. Okay. And so it may not mean something specifically to you personally. And so through another channel message, so many different messages that have came through about this energetic cord that runs between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And that's talking about, with this cord, this is talking about the veil. And so that veil, if you will, that cord that you can't cut the energetic cord. Okay. You can only alchemicalize the dynamics of the communication within the cord. Okay. And the energy that is sent back and forth. And so this is talking about the process of changing the dynamics of the communication. So therefore, with this it's not telepathic, it's beyond telepathic, it's like telefeel feeling, and it goes beyond being able to shoot the message to another individual, like in the sense of like how I'm talking to you and just downloading that. But it's more so like being able in an instant feel feel what your twin is feeling, like feel it. And so we're going beyond words, and this is in a sense how the way that angelic presences communicate, or different types of energies communicate through emotions. So once again, this goes back to having to understand, having the basic understanding of what energy is and how energy works and how to master your energy. And so with that being said, that the dynamics of the communication within oneself changes, and the dynamics of the communication between the divine feminine and the divine masculine and the divine partners change altogether. All right. And so you can check that out on the Patreon page to understand, because it the way how the spirit may communicate the things are not going to be necessarily the regular traditional way, because we are of a new it's not really a new breed. Twin flames or divine partners or divine ones altogether have been around since day one, you know. However, it's like the evolution of the divine ones, okay, the alchemical processing, the karmic burning, the empathic karmic burning of the divine ones have changed. So therefore, it's like the information that our forefathers used, we have ushered in new information and new ways of how to communicate with one another. Okay, so you can, this is like what the masculine is saying, that I am literally, it's okay. So let me explain this. Okay, with that being, I am tired of hiding my true feelings. You think about feelings, emotions, energy, emotion, tired. This is all making reference to energy and mastering one's energy. So his higher self is saying, I am mastering my energy. I'm stepping into self mastery. And with that, I will know who I really am. And when I know and accept and love who I really am, I know who you, I see you. They're already like, I see you. I see you right now. You may intimidate me because you're bringing up things and you make me feel a certain way that is out of, I feel like a fish out of water to a sense. Like, this is very foreign to me, and I like it, but I don't like it. And so therefore, it's like, I'm taking this fish analogy. So the fish out of the water, eventually you will have fish that will be able to breathe outside of water. And this is talking about the evolution of the divine ones. Okay, so initially our forefathers being fish, only being able to breathe underwater and communicate underwater, if you will, under suppression, submission, I even hear, going in the realms. But what I mean by realms is like the guidelines of human society, and only on the outskirts of human society. Okay, and so having to communicate within those boundaries, if you will. However, with the evolution, more so the revolution to evolution, and with the new information that's coming in, is like that we are building something new. We are setting a new legacy. Okay, so therefore we are the fish that can breathe out of water and communicate out of water. All right, and so going back to with this energetic cord, it's like no different than birds that can fly together as one unit. And that's the communication that is coming through. That when one turns, the other one turns. They just like move as one. And that's what I'm talking about with that feeling, that telefeeling. That's the best way of how to describe it. You know, words get in the way. But it's like being able to instantaneously know what know your twin, like your divine partner. Just like, don't even have to even look at each other. You know, it's a process. Alchemical burning, you know, it's a process, but that is what's coming through. And so specifically, like with my throat chakra, that anyways, I do speak angelic language. Okay. And so just last night, so many activations came through with the dynamics of communication. And so a lot of the divine ones are going to step into their divine authority. They're going to start channeling information. It's going to be new information. They're going to start speaking and healing in the healing language. Okay. And so in the thing about with the communication in language, excuse me, I'm getting very excited. Okay. Um, is the fact that with it with okay, let me back up. With the healing language, okay, it's not about, when we talk about love, we're talking about the full spectrum of love. And when people say love and light, we have to really break down what love and light really is. And so once again, I have over on the Patreon page, I have what light is and the different types of lights and the different types of darknesses, and going beyond and before the creation of energy. Okay. And those are, this is for people, the divine ones that are on this type of level. Okay. And it's not talking about, you have to pardon those messages that are coming up because I'm recording this on my phone. Okay. I'm taking this straight directly to the collective, the connected. I'm not putting it on the computer and doing all the editing, because if the flow of the spirit just got to go with it. Okay. Those that really get it will understand. Okay. And this is also what the spirit is saying about it's a certain, I hear, mass of the divine ones that are being called up to the other realms. And so they will be shown more things than other twins, other divine partners. And so this is talking about a hierarchy. And, with this dynamic of communication, some may be at this, I hear, the scales of communication. And so I see the fish and you rub the fish the other way and the scales go the other way. And so instead of them sticking up, they lay down the other way. And that could be just a whole message within itself. But this is talking about being able to scale the hierarchy. So you have certain amount of twins or divine partners, or divine ones that will be able to move up the ladder, if you will. And so this is making reference to, it could be making reference to the Jacob's ladder, being able to go above the angelic realms and bring down information that is like not even heard of. Like, what the crap are you talking about? And people could probably be like, click right now, like, what the crap are you talking about? This is about a divine masculine and stuff. And so, yes, but this is all information is coming from, remember I said, it's so many different waves of divine partners that are coming into union, and different ones have different jobs and they have different hierarchies. Okay. So you're going to have some that are like, I hear footsmen. Okay. So therefore, ground level, entry level. So you think about in the military branches, they may be recruits or something like that. They may just be basic, like, how can I better explain this? Like, entry level, if you will. And then you have the ones that are a little above that. And yes, you do have, it's not about ego. I'm talking about the lower ego, the number 6, the fall of man. Okay. The suppression of the 3D mental. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you know the hierarchy on the spiritual realms, and then being able to flow together within the wave that you are on, and the jobs and the duties and the talents and the skills that have been assigned to you. And there are several different waves that will crash upon the shore, meaning coming to activation, certain activation. So I will also put in the bio, I will also put the twin flames and sexual energy link to that video, and the activations and stuff. And I will link that down below. Okay. And so you can check that information out. And then you have some that will be called up, but guess what? No different than in the military, where you have like higher chiefs or officials and stuff. And so therefore they know more, but they also help more responsible. They have to go through more training, meaning more activations. All right. And so you have certain ones that are going to be on that level. And that's what I'm talking about the hierarchy, being able to scale. They're scaling, meaning they're moving up the ladder in two different angelic realms, okay? And so you think about the higher up in the aptitude or altitude, it's like you have to have a special ability to breathe a certain way, have special talents or spiritual gifts, if you will, powers, if you will, to be able to breathe the higher up that you go. And so that's why you have some that will climb Mount Everest, if you will, and they will fall to the wayside because the air gets so thin. But you have some that actually persevere and they make it to the top of the mountain. And so those are what I'm talking about. So you think about this as far as like with the activations. A lot of the activations, they come through extreme pleasure, but they also come through extreme pain as well. Okay? So, you guys, it's not like your traditional divine masculine, from his higher self. So this is a multitude of different divine masculines or masculine energy and the activations of communication. We also have, I'm going to post this channel message about with the Neptune and Pisces and that transit. And it's talking about communication, but communication in the dream state. And we sort of went over that with the twin talk this morning of when I'm posting this video. So you can also check that out. I will link that down below as well. But it's more information. And so sometimes, can't go but so deep or AKA so high in general videos. But anyways, if you want to go a little deeper or a little higher, go mosey on over to Patreon, to the Patreon page over there. So for as little as $1.11 a month, that you are able to have access to all of the videos besides the 333 unconditional love activation tier, though that's a whole nother tier. Okay, but you have all activations to all the other videos, all the other podcasts that I have over there. So it's so much information over there already. Okay. And so as well, depending on which tier that you sign up under, that you'll receive a free monthly reading. It's a personal reading, a video reading, channel information, specifically tapping into your energy and your divine partner's energy. Or what sometimes, like, you do have some people that don't ask about a divine partnership, they ask about other things. But anyways, you can go check that out and make a reference to the podcast. And then for as well, for those that have given the 613 out of this world, higher energetic exchange information, higher wisdom and higher knowledge. You can find that link down below. AKA, it's also known as a donation. It's $6.13. So like the number 613 deals with higher wisdom, higher knowledge. Okay. And so if you're interested, make sure that you hit the like button as well as leave a comment, because YouTube will push that information to more divine ones. I'm just a mouthpiece, just a portal, just a projection, okay? I'm just a projector. And so whatever the spirit gives me, I'm silly enough to say it, if you will. So you can make sure you hit the like button as well as leave a comment, because YouTube will push it to more divine ones. And if you like, go ahead and subscribe, and as well hit the notification button so you can receive notifications when I go live, as well as post new content. And I thank you guys so much. One love, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right, peace.